Hey, welcome back, everybody. In today's episode, I want to talk to you something that you probably have never heard in your entire life in school, at church, or even your job, but it will change your life for the rest of your life. You hold on, right? You ready? Purpose never changes, but your calling does. And again, most people get these two things confused, and it causes them to drift through life. It causes them to live an unfulfilled life, and it feels them to lead a life that they truly don't desire simply because they have purpose and calling confused. Today, I want to untangle those two things for you, because if you feel restless, you feel that you're just drifting through life, you're not actually achieving the things that you know that you're supposed to achieve, it's because you probably got these two things twisted up. And in today's episode, I want to make sure that I help you untwist them and that you could go on to live the best life that you ever thought that you could. So again, stay tuned and let's make sure that we get into this topic and make sure that we're doing something that's going to change your life. Okay. Again, purpose versus calling. So many people get this confused. I got it confused. And I remember one day when I discovered and when God downloaded this inside of me, I was sitting in my truck, um, no music playing, no real thoughts going on. Just I was by some water, just looking at what God's creation. And I started saying to myself, man, something's got to change. Something is off in my life. Let me tell you the story of what was going on then. I was, from what everybody could see, doing great, making decent money, right? Wasn't a millionaire at the time, but life was good, right? We were paying bills, kids were healthy, me and my wife were healthy. We were very, very involved in our church, and we were in leadership at the church. I was in leadership at my job. We was making a difference in people's lives. We were doing great things, but I had a inner heaviness inside of me. Can any of you guys agree with that? You're successful on the outside. You're doing the right thing that you think that you're supposed to be doing, but there's not an inner peace. If you really want to say it, there's some pressure there. There's some pressure that says something ain't right here. Something's not going the way that it's supposed to be. And for so long, you settle for that. But in everybody's life, there's going to come a time, I know it came to me in that moment, that you're going to have to decide, why are you here? And what are you supposed to be doing? And when that thought comes, you have to answer it. You have to answer that thought of, am I wasting my life? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going about the way God has designed me? Before he created me, he put me here and he wanted me to do something, to achieve some things, but I don't feel like I'm doing them. And now what I'm doing is not bad. What I'm doing is creating success for me. I'm actually changing people's lives. I'm actually in leadership, leading people, creating things and doing the things that seem right on paper. They seem right to society. They seem right. If you were to ask anybody, they would say, hey, I want to be like so-and-so. No, so-and-so is a difference maker in life. But when you sit down on the couch, or in my case, when I was sitting in that truck and I was just looking and thinking, I said, man, there's something else there. And I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, but I know it's more than I'm actually doing. You know what I mean? How many of you guys are feeling that right now? How many of you can truly say that I'm doing good, but I don't feel alive? I don't feel aligned with something, right? You don't know what that something is, but you just know that you don't feel aligned with it right now. That's because you have these two things confused. You have purpose and calling, and so many people use those two words interchangeably. They don't separate them. They actively think that purpose and calling are the same exact thing. But I'm here to tell you, friends, It's not. They're not. They couldn't be more different. And we're going to explain. We're going to talk about the differences in those two, because then when you get those two things corrected and you get those two things untangled up, you start to see that your life is so much better. Even though you think you're doing good now, you'll see that your life is so much better. So we're going to talk to you about that today. Okay. And that's where most high performing professionals live for years. They're trapped between who they are and what they're currently called or deployed to do. And that is a danger zone. That's a danger zone. And sometimes what happens is when you want to find your true calling or your true purpose in life, you start to feel stressed out. And you see, maybe even your health may start failing as well, because you have those two things mixed up and you're settling for unalignment. And how many of you know when you unalign with what God has called you to do, it's going to lead to stress. It's going to lead to sometimes even pain in your life. So I'm encouraging you to make sure you pay attention to this episode to make sure that you get these two things right. Now, each individual is something different, but we're going to make sure that you get those things untangled up. So if you're watching this right now and you feel that you're successful but unfulfilled, you're driven but you're restless, you're blessed but you're bored, you're grateful but you're still hungry for more, you're not crazy, man. You're not disconnected. You're not ungrateful. You're just misaligned, and you're going to get aligned with this today. Because your purpose is larger than your current calling, you can't feel fulfilled. You can't feel settled. You can't feel home. And why? Because your soul knows something that you're scheduled to do hasn't caught up with you yet. Yeah, you hadn't got caught up with what you're put here for. But your soul is saying, let's get in line with what it is. But your mind is saying the bank account looks good. Everything's fine. But you have to say, I'm going to surrender to me. Even if that means starting all over again in life. And I know what some of you may be saying. I'm too old. You're never too old to find your purpose. I have a mentor, and I love this man with all my heart. I love this man. He was the biggest man in life to me, almost, that I knew personally. And he and I were having a conversation, and we talked about this very topic about calling and purpose. And he told me this, and it crushed me. He said, Andre, I don't know if I've ever truly found my purpose in life. And God, guys, I got to tell you, that hurt me so bad. That hurt me so bad, because I'm thinking this is my mentor. I hang on his every word. This is a true man of God that has made a difference in so many people's lives. And for me to hear that he said that he may not have found his true purpose or even his true calling in life, it destroyed me. But that's destroyed me, but it made me go down this journey to find out about purpose and calling. So everything I'm going to talk about here is years of me researching, years of me looking at my own story, looking at my mentor's story, so I can make sure that you don't have to go through years and years of finding out what your true purpose is in life, what your true calling is in life, and most importantly, not getting them confused. So let's break this down. Make sure you got something to write this down with, because you guys, this truly can make a difference in your life, make a difference in your children's life, make a difference in your legacy. Write these down and study these things. So let's look at them. I'm going to go slow so we can make sure that we get these right. Purpose is defined simply as purpose is your identity. It's your identity. It's who you are. Your purpose is who you are. Your purpose is you. When people think about you and what you contribute to the world, that's you. It's your identity. That's purpose. Your calling, on the other hand, is your assignment. What are you supposed to use that purpose for? That's your current assignment. And like we said before, your purpose stays the same. It never changes. But your calling can, and more than likely, it probably will change. So don't get discouraged by thinking, I don't know what my calling is. It'll change as you grow, as you mature, as you learn, as you adapt. It may change, but let me tell you this, that purpose never will. Purpose is why God created you. It's why you're here. It's what your assignment is to do. Not your assignment, but it's why you're here, why you exist, why God said, hey, I need someone to be this. And I think you, fill in the blank, your name will be that person to do that. Okay. Your calling is how God deploys you to the world. Purpose is why God created you. Calling is why he deployed you. Your purpose is internal. It's internal. It's inside of you. It what just pours out of you when you're in that environment that you're supposed to be in. It just rushes out. You can't stop it. People may think, why do you always talk about that topic? Why do you get so excited about that? When you are volunteering or you're doing that thing, whatever it is, after you find your purpose, you just get lit up about that. Your calling is external. It's how you pull that stuff that's inside of you and the world can see it externally because you're doing that project. And this is where a lot of confusion comes. And this is what a lot of misalignment becomes, because if you're trying to live your purpose in the wrong calling, it's going to look unaligned. And people are like, wait a minute, maybe you don't need to have this job. Maybe this job is not for you because your internal purpose is not aligning with your external calling. Purpose never changes. We just talked about that a minute ago. Purpose never changes, but your calling may, and it probably will change. But friend, let me tell you, here's something that's true that no one talks about. God evolves your assignment to match the level that he grows you into. Let me say it again. God will evolve your assignment to match the level he grows you into. So the more and more you get aligned with your purpose, the more and more that you accept what it is, the bigger and bigger God will give you an assignment to the world. No, if your purpose in life is to be a full-time, God's not going to call you. More than likely, now God can do anything, but he's probably not going to call you to world missions. Will he eventually maybe do that? Yeah, but he has some training that he has to get you to line up with that purpose before that true calling. You might have to start in your local church. You might have to start doing a Bible study in your house. You may have to start doing, there's a start to your calling, but as your purpose, you get it more and more evolved and more trained, and you get more and more wisdom from that purpose, your calling will change as well, because you can handle more. You've accepted that purpose and you've gone through it. All right. So let's make sure that we're looking at your calling in the right way. Now let's get some examples out of the Bible about people that found their purpose and then they lived that calling out, right? And show you that it does change. Let's look at Joseph in the Old Testament. His purpose was leadership, but he expressed his leadership purpose by becoming a great son that was loved, that had the coat of many colors. Then he became a slave. Oh, is that a purpose? I mean, is that a calling? God can use any situation to express what you were supposed to do into the world. Then he became a manager. Then he became a prisoner again, right? He became a prisoner. And then he became the prime minister of Egypt, the most powerful, rich country in the entire world at that time. So don't tell me that God can't take you from stage to stage to stage to stage, or from calling to calling to calling to calling. Look at Paul. Paul's purpose was to be an apostle, but his calling changed as well. He was a missionary. He was a tent maker. He was a writer. He wrote most of the New Testament. And then he was a church father. Okay? It changes. Yours will change. Look at your life. Look at where you started from. If you're living your purpose, your calling has changed. It has evolved, but you got to accept it. And I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons that most of us miss purpose and calling. I'm going to give you that here in a sec. But last one, guys, let's look at Moses. Moses' purpose was to be a deliverer. He was born to deliver his people, the children of Israel, from the grasp of Egypt and Pharaoh. But how does the calling express that? He was a prince of Egypt. He was exiled. He was an exile out in the wilderness. He was a shepherd. He learned how to lead people by shepherding the flocks. And then he became a leader. So I hope this is making sense to you, that your calling will change, but you don't have to be embarrassed by it. So guys, God doesn't change your purpose. He evolves your calling. Okay. So I promise you guys, I'm going to tell you something that will debunk all of this. And that is, if you're doing something simply for money, there's no problem with getting money. But if you are chasing money and that is your sole goal, you're using your calling simply to get money and to build things for yourself, you will never, because money is fleeting. Let me tell you a secret about money. Money is fast. Money is fast. If you chase after money and you chase after money alone just for the sake of consuming and having money and foregoing your calling, you will never catch money. What it will do is it'll slow down long enough for you to rub it and catch it, to put it in your hands for a little bit. But then it'll run away so fast from you that you can't catch it again. Then it'll slow down and then you'll chase it. And in those chasing moments, that's when you're destroying yourself. That's when stress comes, worry comes. That's because you're chasing that money, and you know your heart is saying, go after something else. Go after something else. But you're saying, no, I got to get this money, man. I got to go after this money. And the money is turning around, looking at you sideways and laughing at you because it know you will never 100% possess it, because it'll run away and is making you ignore your calling long enough for it to get away. But then a magical, blessed thing happens when you stop chasing money and start chasing your calling. Money's still fast, but what happens is it'll stop running from you and it'll say, where is he? Where is she? They're not chasing me anymore. Where are they? Then the money will turn around and start chasing you. It'll start chasing you down because you're operating in your true calling. You're making sure that you are mastering what it is that you're called to do. You're in mastery. You're trying to learn the things that you need to be the best that you're supposed to be. The Bible says, run your race to win it. When you're running your race to win, that money is going to come and it's going to overtake you. You still can't outrun it because but this time it's chasing you versus you chasing that. So I'm telling you, friends, chase your calling and your money will show up. I just wanted to add that to you, man. I want you to write that down and believe for that when you're going after what God has put you on this earth for. There's no devil in hell that can stop money from chasing you. God will reveal the opportunities through his calling. Look at, I just told you about Joseph. This man was second in charge of Egypt because he decided that nevertheless, he's going to chase his calling. Jesus became the savior of the world. He's sitting at the right hand of God right now because he said, nevertheless, let God's will be done. Let God's will be done in your life. Let will be done in my life. That calling is something great, man. Chase it and watch that money run you down. So I developed a framework. I call it the DRVN framework. It's a 4-part framework. And the foundation of that framework is the discover phase. And that's in that discover phase is when you discover who you are. We talk about in that we teach you how to find your purpose, which is it's not chosen by you, but purpose is revealed to you. Your calling is another phase. That's your assignment for the season that you're in. The why, your why, finding your why. That's that emotional side that helps you stick with it, right? Even though it's get tough, you're going to stick with it because you know what your why is. And then lastly, it's a superpower. Your superpowers, your talents, the things God has put in your place to use as tools to help fulfill your purpose, to help fulfill your calling. And they're not random. They are built to go and coincide with your purpose and with your calling. Now, why am I telling you this? All of this is a plan by God. And all these things in this DRVN framework through prayer, through my past, through clients that I've had, we've discussed these things and we came up with the DRVN framework. But the two things that we start off with that we say is the most important that you have to get correct before you can move on to anything else is your purpose and your calling. So let me give you a test. Say, Andre, you're always giving homework. Now you're giving out tests. Let's look at something. Let me ask you a few questions here. Now, number one, this is the fulfillment test. Does this assignment energize, whatever it is that you are going through right now or whatever that you feel called to, does it energize you or does it drain you? If it drains you, it's probably not your calling. Now, there's a difference between being tough and draining. If it's draining, that means you're doing something that you're not in line with. May need to look for a different calling. The fruit test. Does this assignment produce impact for others? If it's only benefiting you, it's not your calling. Because everything in your calling benefits someone else. And before I go on to the third test for your calling, let me tell you this. Your purpose is always the benefit of it. It shows up for love of God and service to man. Love God, serve man. That's why we're here. Your purpose, your calling always answers to those two things. Loving God, serving man. Loving God, serving man. If it only benefits you, it's not your purpose. If it only benefits you, it's not your calling. Your calling and your purpose is to love God, serve man. Okay? Let's make sure you just side note that. And the last test to see if you're operating where you're supposed to be in your calling is the alignment test. Does this assignment that you're on right now match your God-given identity? What is your identity? Your purpose. So if you say that you're called to be a leader, but you're operating in servant and not serving, but you're operating as a slave. Maybe you in that season too long. Maybe it's time for you to move on to something different. Or maybe you're called to support, be a support person, but you're in a leadership role. And how many of you know everybody want to be a leader, but everybody's not designed to be a leader. So many people I've talked to, they became unstressed and they became aligned when they became a support person versus at their job, they were in a leadership role. There's nothing wrong with being a support person if that's your calling. Don't be ashamed to take a step back, a step to the side, and say, no matter what my ego says, I need to be who God called me to be. I need to be that. I need to operate in my assignment. And if that means I got to change what I'm doing right now, there you go. Let's change it. Right? Guys, I hope these things that we're talking about right now is helping you to see the difference between purpose and calling and the importance of both of them. One without the other is not going to work. Having them confused is not going to work. You got to find your purpose, my friend. You got to find your calling. And don't worry about money. If you do what I just told you in the story above, that we earlier in the video, you'll see money is going to come if you master your calling. All right, so here's a tool for today. It's a sentence. I want you to write this sentence down. Write this down. God created me to blank, so I show up by blank. Now, those blanks are for you to fill out. If you got to write this 1,000 times, write this 1,000 times. Only you can fill this blank in, and it's not going to happen like that. It's going to take some time. You praying over this sentence. It's a simple sentence, but it'll start you thinking about, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing here? What is it that I'm supposed to be putting in this world? Again, God created me to blank, so I show up by blank. What is it? Write it down. Share it with us in the comments section. Let us know what it is that God created you to do and how should you show up with that. That is your purpose. That is your calling. It's a simple sentence. It's going to take you some time, but I promise you, if you master that sentence, you will see what you're truly here for. And you'll see the difference between the two, purpose and calling. Guys, I hope this episode has done something to light you up. I hope it's done something that's going to that if you follow some of the things that we talked about in this episode, I hope it does something to show you that, man, you have so much ahead of you. You have so much opportunity ahead of you to show this world who you truly are. And I promise you that it's not going to be easy, but it will be fulfilling. You will have a sense of joy and happiness when you're walking in your purpose. And when it gets tough, because you know your why, you won't give up on it. So many people say, I've had so many different careers. That's because you hadn't found what you're here for. Stop the drifting over to different careers. Stop drifting to do something that's a struggle for you. Stop chasing money. Find your true calling. Find your true purpose. And man, watch your world change and watch the people that you come in contact with, lives change as well. So guys, we have a purpose-driven newsletter that we send out, great things that help you through your week, things that we're mastering, things that we're going after. And we want you to join the purpose-driven newsletter. We give that out every week. All you got to do is fill out. There's a link in the comments here below. Find that link, hit that, fill out that form, and get these things like this sent straight to your inbox so you can enjoy them, so you can grow and you can go on and do great and mighty things in your life. So guys, I hope you've gotten something out of this episode. But until next time, let's make sure that you stay blessed and stay driven.